Banderacon, Captain's Log, Psychonauts 2. I am actually doing this video right off the back of Psychonauts 1 because I'm in a bit of a mood, and I'm not gonna lie, the world smells fantastic tonight. So, I made a big fucking song and dance in the last video about Psychonauts 1 being a bit cartoony and not really being that dark, and I want to go on a little mini tangent like I did at the beginning of the last video. So, you may or may not be familiar, most likely you will be, familiar with the author Terry Pratchett and the Discworld books. Now, it would be beyond remiss of me to say that Terry Pratchett is an unskilled author. The man's incredible. He built probably one of the more imaginative bibliographies of books. One of them which has a personal soft spot in my heart, Maurice and His Educated Rodents. I genuinely think that's the best thing he's written. Now, imagination, humor, style, wit, it's all fantastic. But Terry Pratchett avoided one thing in, I think, pretty much all of his books, and that was any real violence or darkness. The main city of Ankh-Morpork is meant to be hailed as somewhere that only up until recently mugging became a possibility as opposed to an eventuality in the city, thanks to the work of the patrician, whose name I've forgotten. Come at me. However, he never really writes any true, brutal, bloody darkness that I'm aware of. People die, people meet the Reaper in large amounts, but never in any particularly gory way or explicitly painful fashion. Even the book Pyramids, which focused, at least initially to my disappointment, on the main character becoming an assassin, that never really comes into play. This person who at one point bedecks themselves with so much in the way of concealed weaponry that they tilt their hat and then fall over from the sheer weight of it, never so much as puts dagger to throat, as far as I remember. Puts dagger in pyramid and uses daggers to climb pyramid, but that's it. And it was a rather charming story about family in the end, including the world's greatest mathematician, who was also a camel. Now, this I say in kind of direct reference to Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2 picks up the ball near seamlessly where Psychonauts 1 left off, and yes, I know there was that VR subtitle, The Rhombus of Ruin. I have not played that. I'm probably never going to play that. I do not have a VR headset that I'm going to use for this. No. So, but forget that. Psychonauts 2. It is pretty much just about as flawless a continuation as you can have. Everything is gorgeous. The graphics update from literally 2 decades of difference is fantastic. Again, the worlds, because now they've got so much better hardware to play with, the worlds are much more bright and expansive. The overworld is, I would say, at least 4 or 5 times the size of the original one, with all the little built-in areas and the exploration you can do outside in the woods. It's great. So, in that point, fantastic improvement. And the inner worlds, which is really the where the game breathes and lives, are just as good. The first level itself has you almost in this Inception-esque plot trying to get the big bad from the last game to cough up who he works for. And when the layers start peeling back, because he's got his own mental safeguards built in, it becomes more and more teeth-focused because he's a dentist, or at least he claims to be a dentist. And it's wonderful. And the levels actually go into some effort to try and explore the real darkness that exists in some people. And there's one particular level which is, it's fairly implicit that the character has a drinking problem. Now, I won't lie, that shit hit close to home. I think the only level that was even close to really touching on some raw darkness in the first game was this wonderful, I mean, again, there's still beautiful levels. There's this wonderful neon level from one of the characters who was in the asylum, and the guy was basically dealing with his anger and rejection over being passed over by the object of his affections in school, and you basically helped him deal with reconciling that. Now, in one of the same level I was mentioning a little earlier, this character has basically given up his life to drink. And you play his inner world of these kind of windswept archipelagos where they're just bottles and bottles of various sizes, some small, some absolutely titanic in nature, and they rule and impose over his inner mental world, and you help him kind of get the seeds of his own hope back, and something comes back again from that. And that was damn good. I mean, there are other levels, including the rather memorable levels with the Psy King, where you basically help someone come back from effectively long-term sensory deprivation in the form of, well, basically they were kind of dead for a while, and they got better on pure accident because of a combination of a filing error and absurd good luck. And that in of itself was a different kind of, definitely not darkness, but it hinted at the kind of sadness and madness that one could go through when one was truly, truly alone. But going back to the Pratchett, again, it shies away from really observing any real darkness. Even the penultimate boss, which is meant to be the kind of unhinged dark id of your grandmother of all people, who isn't actually a grandmother. And then there's this whole subplot about how your grandmother allegedly killed your actual grandmother. I'm remembering it wrong, but I'm kind of right, if you know what I mean. I'm on the right track, I'm just on the wrong train. Even then, it has a kind of a levity and a daytime Saturday morning cartoons-esque feel to it, and that's Psychonauts all over. That's how it is. I can't complain that it isn't exactly what I want, especially because I like it. But again, I kind of felt more of a connection to In Sound Mind, which made it more real. And I would say with Psychonauts, everyone you go into is a good person that needs to be kind of brought back right, whereas in Sound Mind, the people you are helping relive are unfortunately already, barring the last one, have already passed away due to their own trauma or their inability to deal with it, and you're kind of giving closure to the matter, and you're giving yourself closure because it's really how you feel you dealt with the situation and the guilt you hold over their deaths or otherwise destabilization. With Psychonauts as it is, it's kind of always a happy ending. Just about everyone whose brain you dive into makes some form of a noticeable immediate recovery or otherwise, with the exception of one of the earlier levels where you actually destabilize the brain of your teacher, which is, like, go and play the damn thing. It's absolutely worth it, even at full price, even however many years it's been after release. Go and play Psychonauts 2 now. Go play 1 first, because again, that's amazing and it's dirt cheap. Now, my call to action is I want you to go and read Johann Cabal, the Necromancer by Jonathan L. Howard. You can pick it up for I think like $5 or $6, or probably less on digital format. It's just a fantastic book. I think everyone should read it, and the dude really deserves more recognition. And I'm out.